All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going on a kind of journey, but not to some far off place. We're going deep inside our own minds to uncover the hidden foundations of our thinking, those underlying assumptions that secretly shape everything we believe.
So let me just kick things off with a question for you. What if your strongest, most deeply held opinions are actually built on ideas you've never really looked at? I mean, never truly examined for yourself. It's a pretty wild thought, and honestly, it's the whole reason we're doing this explainer. To get to the bottom of this, we're going to do what our source material calls an epistemological excavation. Yeah, I know, it sounds fancy, but think of it this way. We're basically becoming intellectual archaeologists. We're going to dig through the layers of our own minds all the way down to the very roots of how we think. So, let's get started. Now, any good excavation has to start at the surface, right? And when we're talking about our minds, the surface layer is made up of all the stuff we can easily see, our arguments and the beliefs they come from. The first thing we find on the surface is our beliefs. And these are more than just casual opinions. The source describes them as our foundational convictions. They're basically the soil, the psychological and cultural ground that all our thoughts grow out of. And a lot of the time, this soil was there long before we ever started trying to be logical or reasonable. Okay, so if beliefs are the soil, then what's sitting right on top? Our premises. These are the explicit building blocks we use to make a point. They're the things we state as true to build our case on. I love how the source calls them the silent axioms of our intellectual architecture. And what's really cool is how you can map this all out. It looks like a nice, clean process, doesn't it? Our deep beliefs shape the premises we choose. Then we apply a little logic and boom, we get a conclusion. It seems so neat and tidy on the surface. But here's the thing. The real action, the stuff that truly matters, is happening in the layers hidden underneath. So it's time to grab our shovels and actually dig. We're going beneath that visible surface of arguments and beliefs, down into the world of hidden frameworks, the things that shape our thinking without us even knowing it. Down here, our source points us to three really powerful hidden forces. First, your mindset. That's your personal, emotional gut feeling about what kind of information you trust. Then there are norms. These are the unwritten rules of your culture or your profession about what a smart argument even looks like. And finally, the big one, your worldview. That's the master lens that colors literally everything you see. Now, within these frameworks, we find two different kinds of unseen assumptions. You've got hidden assumptions. Their power comes from what's not being said, from being totally invisible. On the other hand, you have implicit assumptions. These are hiding in plain sight, embedded in the language we use, like when we talk about winning an argument. The key takeaway? Both of them are invisible forces until we deliberately drag them out into the light. Okay, we've dug past the surface, we've pushed through those hidden frameworks, and now we've hit bedrock. This is it, the deepest layer, the core philosophical foundation that everything, and I mean everything, is built on. This is where our most fundamental assumptions live. These foundations are what the source calls axiomatic principles. That's just a fancy way of saying there are core commitments about how the world works. They're so deep, so fundamental, that we don't even see them as assumptions. To us, they just feel like reality itself. Down here at the bedrock, we run into ontology. This is all about your personal, unspoken answer to the biggest question there is. What is real? Seriously, is reality just out there, objective, waiting for us to find it? Or is it something we create with our words and our culture? Your answer to that changes everything. And right beside ontology, you have its partner in crime, epistemology. If ontology asks what's real, then epistemology asks, okay, but how do we know it's real? This is your internal rulebook for what counts as proof. Is it hard data? Is it personal experience? Is it pure logic? This determines how you justify anything you claim to know. And as you can see, these aren't just abstract ideas. They create totally different ways of seeing the world. A positivist, for instance, needs the numbers, the hard proof. An interpretivist is looking for the meaning behind the story. And a constructivist believes that knowledge is something we build together. Each of these stances literally creates a different reality. So we did it. We completed our excavation. We've seen the surface, we've seen the hidden layers, and we've hit the bedrock. But the big question is, why? Why does any of this matter? Well, the goal isn't just to find this stuff. The goal is to give ourselves the power to think in a completely new way. You see, the entire process of changing your mind, of breaking free from thoughts that aren't really yours, it all comes down to one single, incredibly powerful act. It's the key that unlocks everything else. And that act is questioning. I love how the source puts this. It calls questioning the first act of philosophical courage. And it's so true. It takes real guts to turn around and challenge the very foundations of what you believe to be true. And that courageous act of questioning starts a chain reaction. You can see the path right here. First, you question. You disrupt that comfortable feeling of certainty. That allows you to start revealing, to make all those invisible assumptions visible. And the ultimate goal is to get to a place of what's called zero-based thinking, the ability to wipe the slate clean and rebuild your understanding, but this time on purpose. So what's the reward for all this hard, uncomfortable work? It's one simple, unbelievably valuable thing: clarity. The source calls it the epistemological dividend. It's that amazing feeling of clarity that only comes from true intellectual honesty, from finally understanding why you believe what you believe. So I'll leave you with this. Your entire worldview is built on a foundation of assumptions, whether you knew it or not. The only question left is the one you see here. Are you the architect of that worldview, consciously choosing the design? Or are you just a tenant, living in a house that someone else built for you a long, long time ago? The choice, now, is yours. Thanks for digging deep with us.